Hello, friends, and welcome back to our homestead. Today I'm working in the garden because the weather is perfect for it. The soil is warm, the temperature is warm, and I'm going to be planting my tomatoes and peppers and eggplants because those are the warm, loving kind of plants. The rest of the stuff already in the ground or has been going in the ground all along the springtime. You know that I have been encouraging you, all my viewers and local friends, to garden. I've been saying grow a garden, feed your family. And my my friends, my family know that I'm a straight shooter. And I'm going to tell you something that I've been feeling for a long time. But I didn't want to offend anyone, so I've been trying to say this in the most nicest ways. But you know what? Truth hurts, so I'm going to be a little blunt today. You have the space. When people say, well, I have no space for the garden. Well, yes, if you live in the apartment, high rise apartment, obviously you don't. But those of us who live in suburbs or countryside and we have lawns, we just choose to allocate the space for other things. We plant bushes, grass, lawns. That's what we prefer to see instead of a vegetable garden or an herbal garden. But I want to encourage everyone to grow a garden. All right, so my little backstory, I grew up in the former Soviet Union where during the socialism, if you didn't have a garden or someone you knew very close to you or your relative who had a garden, you were in trouble because things were either not available or too expensive. We had a large family. I'm the youngest of six. So, and my grandmother lived with us. So it was nine of us. It was a lot of us. So feeding a family of that size, if we didn't have a garden, we would be in deep, deep trouble. So I realize that now that I live in the United States and it's the time of abundance, many people think that the stories that I share is something from the past, from the last century, something they're not going to be encountering again. And perhaps you're right. You may never encounter starvation or, you know, issues with food being available. But food is becoming more and more expensive. Let's agree on that. The packages are getting smaller, the sizes look smaller, but the prices are actually higher. So, since I know you're probably not going to relate to my stories of food shortage that I have experienced, that's fine. But I'm going to tell you something else. The food that we're eating from the grocery store is poisoning us. It's literally slowly poisoning our health, destroying our health. Let me take a sip of my coffee. I'm still working in the garden. Right now, we have at least 900 different pesticides that are being approved to be used in our food. We're the only mammals, and I know people don't like to be thinking that we're mammals, but we are, even though we God created people, but we're the only beings that think that by spraying our fields with the most deadly pesticides and herbicides that will kill or deter other bugs from eating those plants are going to be healthy for us. Let's not fool ourselves. It is killing us as well, just a little slowly. Yes, there are acute reactions. You know, if you inhaled a sprayed chemical, it's going to be eye irritation, respiratory irritation, skin irritation. Those are the acute ones that you often think about. Have you ever thought why, when those chemicals are sprayed in the fields, they wear hazmat suits with special respirators? Those are the acute reactions. I'm speaking about those slow, chronic reactions that we are experiencing from eating food that's being grown conventionally. It is causing neurological issues, Parkinson's, dementia, autoimmune conditions, learning disabilities, behavior issues with children, cancer. Yes, I'm going to use the big C word, cancer. It causes cancers, variety of cancers. Skin issues, the chronic skin issues that we're having, the allergies that we have. Let's talk about reproductive health. Let's talk about miscarriages, low birth rate. Let's talk about infertility. Why are we not talking about it? Truth is painful and not fun to hear. But I'm here to tell you because my friends know I'm a straight shooter and I'm going to tell you how it is. Stop poisoning your families. Stop poisoning yourselves. We rely on grocery stores, those beautiful long grocery stores that produce and feed us. Where was it raised? How was it raised? How was it transported? What gas did they fill those transporting containers when they brought your strawberries to you? I am, again, want to speak to you, moms, dads, grandparents. Please grow a garden. Feed your family natural, God-made whole foods. That's where the health is. Okay. Did you know that people who garden actually live longer and healthier lives? So there. So if you're retired and you have nothing to do, start gardening. It's really good for you. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your physical health. You don't have to do a huge plantation. I'm not talking about plantations. I'm talking about a family size garden, and you grow things that you want to eat. Okay? Well, people ask me how much or how many vegetables should I grow? And you know what? There is no perfect answer. For me, I grow a lot. Why? Because we eat fresh today and we preserve for tomorrow. And then when I preserve, I share it with my extended family, with my daughter who already is married and moved away and live in the apartment building, and she has no garden. But you know what she has? She has parents that have a property where she can come and help me to work in a garden and then come and harvest anytime she needs fresh produce. And I'm going to encourage you, those who live in the apartments, who have no land to plant a garden, talk to your relatives, talk to your loved ones. And that's exactly what you should do. You know, I remember back in the Soviet time, people who lived in apartment buildings often would seek a small plot of land around or on the outskirts of town where they can do a small community garden. And they will have a little spot where they can grow vegetables. And you can grow 4 tomato plants and eat fresh. Okay. And if you have something extra, go ahead and preserve it by making tomato sauce or freezing it and then using it in the winter months. You don't have to grow a row of pumpkins. You can grow one plant and you'll get plenty of pumpkins to make that pumpkin pie in the fall. But if you have a lawn that is being utilized for absolutely nothing, I am going to encourage you, convert it into a garden, as long as your town allows to have a front lawn gardens. I know, how sad. Some towns don't allow that. It's not in their ordinances. But convert it into a garden to be utilized for something that will sustain your life, and not just sustain it, but nourish it in the best nutrient dense foods, because the health starts with the food. Very often we throw things away from the kitchen. You know, the peels from the vegetables or scraps from the kitchen. Instead, turn them into a compost, because that's going to be the best thing that you can feed your vegetable plants is the compost. The health of the soil starts with compost. And we are such a wasteful nation. We just throw everything away. Well, in fact, you can collect it, put it in the bin, and next thing you know, next year you have a fantastic compost. Whether you choose to do a garden in the open soil or whether you choose to do a garden in a raised bed, it doesn't matter. It's whatever is convenient. As a matter of fact, now that I'm getting older, it is much easier for me to do gardening in the raised bed because it's easy on my back. But I do know that I can plant a whole lot more if I'm on a big open garden. I know my stories about growing up in a socialism time may not speak to everyone. And I understand that not many of you experience hunger or shortages. But if we had anything learned from 2020, that yes, there can be shortages of food very quickly as well. But even if those issues don't speak to you, I hope that your health issue speaks to you. So I encourage you, please start a garden. Plant a little or big, whatever you like. So yeah, I hope you are encouraged and try something new.